Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Time Travel. Now in today's episode, we're going to be traveling back to the year 2003 and taking a look at Yahoo Widgets. Now, this video was requested a couple of times on my recent time travel episode on Google Desktop, which you can check out here. And that program was developed by Google, obviously, and it brought a desktop search interface to your Windows operating system. And it also, in later versions, added a sidebar and gadgets, which was pretty cool. And this was before Windows had gadgets with Windows Vista. It was even before Mac OS had gadgets. So today we're going to be seeing how Yahoo's widget and sidebar program compares to Google Desktop, because there are a couple of major differences. One of the largest ones is it actually didn't start at Yahoo. It started its life back in 2003 as an independent project called Confabulator. Confabulator was essentially a widget engine. It allowed you to run all sorts of desktop widgets on your computer, and this came along years before Apple officially introduced widgets into their operating system with the introduction of Dashboard in macOS 10.4 Tiger in 2005. This was released, it was first released in 2003. Here's a snapshot of their website back in 2003. And it says, how do you describe something that can do just about anything? Confabulator lets you run desktop widgets that can do whatever you want them to do. Skinnable to an extreme, widgets can not only do whatever you want, they can look however you want. So if you want the weather, your stocks, your battery life, your favorite cartoon strip, the ability, it just goes on and on and on and on, whatever you want it to be. That's their tagline from this initial website here. What is Confabulator? Whatever you want it to be, and that is absolutely true. There was a whole community of people developing all sorts of gadgets for Confabulator. It was exclusive to Macs originally. This was not free software though. This cost money, because this was definitely a very undertaking project, and it cost money to get. It cost $24.95. Here is a snapshot of their checkout page. And so it costs $25 for a single user license, $500 for a site license, and $2,500 for a worldwide site license. It was later dropped to $19.95, and they eventually released a Windows version in 2004. So what you would do is you would go buy a license and then go to their download page to download the latest version. This was before they had released the Windows version, because you see it says it needs macOS 10, 10.2 or greater. So the developers of Confabulator were doing their own thing for years. They had developed this program, put it out there, it became pretty popular, and it caught the attention of Yahoo in 2005 when they purchased the company. And they then hired all of the original developers and brought them on as Yahoo employees, where they continued to develop Confabulator, but just as a Yahoo product. And you can see here's a snapshot after Yahoo had purchased them, and they labeled it as a Yahoo product, but it was still called Confabulator. So this was when there was a version available for Windows, and you can see here's the updated pricing right here, now only $19.95. So they dropped the price to $19.95. But a couple of months after Yahoo acquired Confabulator, or the company behind Confabulator, they did something even bigger than dropping the price, and that was announced, initially announced on this website here when they updated it with this little teaser here, and it is a comic strip, and it's kind of teasing. There's this 10-page comic, and just kind of goes through and just kind of tells you what they were planning. It kind of talks a little bit about the history of Confabulator. It's pretty cool. Well, what did they do? They made the program completely free. That's right, they completely cut the price. They made it free to download with version 2.1, as it says right here. Let's just get this out of the way. Confabulator is now free. If you download version 2.1, you know what you'll never see? A registration reminder. And it's with version 2.1 that we start our journey. Now, the reason we're starting with 2.1 is because prior versions you had to register the program to use it, and we're not able to register the program anymore, and I also could not find download links for the older versions. So we're going to start with version 2.1. Even though it was owned by Yahoo at this point, it was still called Confabulator. They did not rebrand it as Yahoo Widgets until a later version, which we'll get into later on in the video. It still installs to the, this was the original company name right here, so it still installs to that directory. And there we go, it is installed, and we're going to launch it. So we'll hit finish here, and Confabulator will launch for us. So when I saw that fade in animation and just the design of this welcome screen here, the first thing I thought of is Rainmeter, because it kind of looks like that. I've done a whole video on Rainmeter. That's another widget program that I use personally on my computer. It is free to download, and I'd recommend it if you want to go check it out. So here's the welcome screen, and it just tells you, thank you for installing Confabulator, the utility that can be whatever you want it to be. And it just kind of tells you a little bit about the program. So you click to continue. It says we've installed some stuff. What's really cool is they have made a custom folder with like its own custom icon in your My Documents folder, like next to My Pictures and My Music. Well, they've got My Gadgets, and it's really, really neat. So you see when I click next, we had a lot of things happen there. We've got a few widgets that have come up on the screen, and we've got these error messages right here because, unfortunately, just like in the case of Google Desktop, most of the gadgets that require connection to a server to pull data don't work because the servers don't exist anymore. So the weather, the stocks widget, none of those work. It's very unfortunate, but we can still use like the clock, the picture frame, to-do list. We can still use a lot of the local gadgets that don't require any sort of internet connection to function properly. So it just tells you right here, you know, how to move gadgets around. It tells you what right-clicking on it does. It'll open up a little menu here. You can view about information for all of these gadgets here. So the analog clock, they've got these nice little taglines here as well. So like for stocks here, it'll say go up, down. It's like, I think everyone who's invested in stocks has experienced that at one point. About the weather, if you're too lazy to go outside. I just think this is great. It's just like a nice little, you know, fun little thing that they've added in here. So we'll click to continue. And then it comes up with the tray menu, and right when it comes up, it displays a little balloon tip down here that says, "Hi, I'm the Confabulator menu." So this is where you can get options for the program. You can choose to open up widgets right from here, check for updates, get more widgets, all of that good stuff. And next up, we have something really interesting called Conspose. Now, Conspose is a reference to Expose, which was a macOS 10 feature. Now keep in mind, this program predated macOS 10's gadgets and, you know, their dashboard interface. So I'm not sure what the meaning behind this name is. I think maybe they're trying to poke fun at Apple and kind of saying, hey, we did this before you guys did. And just like Expose, if you press F8, it will bring up this interface where it will kind of dim the background, dim all of the windows in the background, and just show you the gadgets that you have open. And I guess Expose does it with Windows, but Conspose does it with gadgets. So now you've probably noticed that there is no sidebar. We have a sidebar in Windows Vista. There is a sidebar in Google Desktop. Conspose doesn't have a sidebar. The gadgets can be freely moved around wherever you want. They could also be freely moved around in Vista, though you had to have the sidebar open to have the gadgets open. But in early versions of Google Desktop, you could not move the plugins off of the sidebar. They were constrained to the sidebar. Well, here in Conspose, you can freely move these around wherever you want. So I can have the clock over here, the weather over here, the picture frame down here, the stocks, assuming they worked up here. And what's also cool, and one of the ways you can kind of tell that this was an OS 10 program initially, if we go to the preferences menu for any of these widgets, it opens up in a very macOS 10-like settings menu where you've got these animations as you move between these settings panels here. So yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, there's a lot of customizability with all of these widgets. I can change the background color, the text, if I want the color to be maybe green, if I want the background color to be red. You can change some font settings. You can go to window and change the opacity of it. You can lock the window positions, and you can, this is where you would type in your location. Now, I briefly mentioned that My Widgets folder before. Well, if I go into My Documents here it is right here, and it honestly looks like a Windows XP default folder. I mean, they really tried to go for that here. This is literally the default folder icon with this, you know, little gear logo inside of it. So it's pretty cool. Now you go in here, and these are all of your widgets right here. So you've got a whole bunch of them that come pre-installed. You can open up a memory gauge. This is one that will work since it doesn't require any sort of network connection. But you could get a lot more by going to the gallery. Now, the gallery at this time looked like this. This is it right here. This was from late 2005, and this is where you would go to download all sorts of widgets that other people have made. You can see there's a ton of them here. They got it categorized. You've got all these different authors in here developing stuff. You've got this one called the Hash Slinging Slasher, which is a pretty great name. And so this apparently compares two files, you know, their MD5 hash, and it lets you know if the two files are actually different. But yeah, there's just a ton. I mean, you could spend like a ton of time on this gallery just going through and downloading gadgets to try out. And that was one of the really cool things about Confabulator, is the community behind it. And with Yahoo making it free, it enabled even more people to you know, to get access to this and to try out all of these widgets. So that was version 2.1, the first ever free release of Confabulator. Now we're going to move on to version 3.0, which got rebranded as Yahoo Widgets. And this definitely made sense. It was only a matter of time until Yahoo wanted to rebrand it as their own product. And here is a snapshot of the website from early 2006, and you can see it is completely rebranded as the Yahoo Widget Engine, which was the official name for this program. At this point, going to confabulator.com would redirect you to widgets.yahoo.com, so they were kind of doing away with the Confabulator name. And so we're going to go through and install this. Now, Yahoo has, because again, they're kind of taking over this program, rebranding it as their own thing, they're kind of trying to get you to install some other Yahoo programs. So they've got the Yahoo toolbar in here. If you click I agree on one of these pages, it'll ask you, do you want to set your home page to yahoo.com and your default search engine to Yahoo? So those are checked by default. If you didn't want those, you just uncheck them. You can see we get that same fade-in animation, a very similar interface to the previous version of Confabulator, but at this point, there's just a lot of Yahoo branding. So we can click to continue. You've got the exact same click to make this go away button right here. And they have also, and what's nice is because we had Confabulator installed, it's actually updated some of the widgets for us, and it's kept the same layouts that we had previously. So once I click this button right here, it will come up with all of the widgets in the exact same spot that I had them in. It also archives some of the older widgets in these folders right here. So these are some of the older versions, though now this file type says it's a Yahoo widget as opposed to a Confabulator widget. So, you know, another slight change there. And they have, like, for example, the photo viewer right here now supports Flickr and Yahoo Photos, in addition to just pulling local photos from your computer. So some of these, like Yahoo Weather, for example, is just going to be a rebranded version of the Confabulator weather widget. But then you've got things like Yahoo Search here and Yahoo Mail Checker. These are new widgets. You've even got Yahoo Maps, which doesn't exist anymore, so you can't really do anything with it. So if I want to search for, you know, Cupertino, I mean, I can press enter all day long. It's not going to do anything. Unfortunately, even the Yahoo search widget does not work either. I mean, I can do a search for Michael MJD and press enter. It will attempt to perform a search, but it will not be successful in doing that. So that is kind of unfortunate. I thought for sure this one would still work, but it does not. Interestingly enough, installing this version of Yahoo Widgets will not uninstall the old version of Confabulator. You see we've got that right here. And if I go into my computer, C, and program files, we still have, if we scroll down here and go into the folder here, we still have Confabulator right here. Now, we were talking about this photo widget before. This is actually one of the few network-reliant widgets that still work. Specifically, I can click on Flickr here and click yes to the redirection prompt there, and we'll say yes, we want to proceed. This will actually pull current photos, as you just have to click on yes to all these prompts here. And you can even search for a specific tag. So if I want to do a search for, say, Apple, we can do a search here, and it will pull, I guess this is a random photo that has something to do with Apple here. What is this? No description, but you can see 2020 taken on an Apple iPad Mini 4 and Apple iPhone 12. So this widget still is one of the few network-reliant widgets that still works to this day. You can actually pull photos and stuff from Flickr, which is pretty cool. So that is version 3.0. We've got one more version to take a look at, though. If we quit out of this, we've got to take a look at version 4.0 because this introduces a pretty major feature to the Yahoo Widgets engine. So the setup wizard has essentially remained unchanged. It's the same interface here, the same prompts, you know, the like, do you want to set Yahoo as your homepage, all of that. But this one will actually uninstall the two previous versions. So you can see that the Confabulator icon on the desktop is no longer here. This time we get an end user license agreement. So we'll click on I accept. This one introduces, this came out in 2007 by the way, a user interface overhaul. So you can see we've got this new dock interface on the right side here, which is completely new to the Yahoo Widget Engine. This was not in any of the previous versions of Yahoo Widget Engine or Confabulator. And now you've got these prompts here whenever you want to launch widgets. So it says analog clock has been modified since the last time it was run, just kind of letting you know that you're running a different version of the widget now. So you have to click on use widget. So for all of these old versions of the widgets, even though they're made by Yahoo, they're signed by Yahoo, I still have to click on use widget and confirm for every single one of these that I had open. Right here, this is the dock interface, and this is where you can, this is essentially like a hub for all of your widgets. You can launch them from here. Right now it's going to show me all of the active widgets that I have open, but if I were to maybe say hide the clock here and not close out of it, it'll still show up in here, and I can click on this to open it up. If I were to close out of it, then it would disappear from the dock here. If I close out of all of these, like if I click on close widget, we'll just do that for all of these here. Then it will come up with this right here, and if I click on plus, it'll bring up a list of all of the widgets that I can add to my desktop, and you can see these are all of the ones that I have already installed. So yeah, all sorts of widgets here. So I can launch the clock again. I can do that. There we go. I can launch the battery meter, and this is one I've not launched it before, so it's going to prompt me here. We'll click on use, and so the battery meter, it should, oh, here it is right here. So since this is not a battery powered system, though, it's not going to do anything, but it's still pretty cool. The biggest widget that was introduced, though, is the Yahoo Widget Gallery. This is a widget that allows you to browse the widget gallery, so you no longer have to open up your web browser and go to the website. The problem is, though, it doesn't work. You can't actually do anything with it because, once again, the servers that used to host the widget gallery don't exist anymore. So it is just essentially a little window that you've got on your desktop that's going to complain about not having a network connection. If you did not know, Yahoo completely killed off the Yahoo Widget platform in 2012, and this was after the founders of Confabulator, the original developers, actually left Yahoo and moved on to other projects, I assume. So they weren't even with Yahoo anymore, but Yahoo still continued to develop it and release new versions after the original developers left the company. So, but yeah, guys, there you have it. That is a brief look back at the Yahoo Widgets platform that originally started its life as Confabulator back in 2003. Definitely a very, very cool, very unique piece of software, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at it with me today. I will have download links down below if you guys want to check out any of these versions that we took a look at today, as well as any of the other versions that are hosted over on oldversion.com. That's where I got all of these installers from. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you want to see more like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to get subscribed down below and turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do multiple times every single week on this channel. And as always, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.